What's good, family? Smash the like button and subscribe. So, your boy, the YB, has received some exclusive information. One of my inside sources has revealed to me that Beyonce Wilder is indeed considering retirement. The man is now 35 years old and just been turned out. Well, last year was turned out. However, I regretfully have to inform you, man, he hasn't made significant steps to heal himself. Or regardless, whatever he's been doing, we've seen him turn to the drink, we've seen him turn to the shooting ranges, we've seen him turn to all that toxic masculinity thing. Oh man, I got a big gun, and I got a big bottle of JD, and you've seen all that? We've seen him turn to the African garms. Listen, when someone's on their last legs, yeah? When you turn to the African garms, you're looking for some sort of spirituality, trying to go back to your roots, and going back to the roots isn't the problem. But what you'll notice about Wilder is he weren't trying to go back to the roots when he was on top, yeah? I've never heard Wilder talk about Africa. In fact, he was one of them typical USA dons who say things like, "Oh, I'm not African, I'm American." One of them goofy ones. So let's not forget that. "Oh, I'm not African, I'm American." All that kind of stuff. Now all of a sudden he's washed. He be wearing the garms because he's trying to find something. He need help. That's the bottom line. He tried the guns, he tried the alcohol, he tried the African garms, and none of it working because African don't want him. I would have told you, man. I spoke to my African dons. They don't want Wilder. He's washed. Yeah? I've always thought this. If you didn't want to represent when you was on top, don't be trying to represent now you're washed. Africa don't want you. Yeah? Stay where you is. You're American, like you said. "Oh, man, I'm American, baby." Listen, there's nothing wrong with being American, but just make sure you stay consistent. Don't be repping American and then get washed and be talking about you want to be African now. Because we don't want you. Stay where you is. So you say America. Because America don't want you either. America don't want no loser. No. So at the end of the day, no one wants him. And that's why, like I said at the start of this video, it's become apparent from my inside sources, yeah, SAUCES, that Wilder is thinking about retirement if he doesn't get the Fury fight. That's the key thing here. Wilder allegedly, and that's the thing I'm struggling with, to be fair. Allegedly, from my sources, they're saying that he will carry on if he gets the Fury fight. But apparently he's got no interest in fighting Dillian. As Shock there. Shock, he don't want no smoke with Dillian. And also I've heard from people close to the situation that Wilder's seeing up-and-coming bulls. Yeah? He's seeing Joe Joyce. Let's not forget that. He knows Joe Joyce is just about to push Alexander Usyk's wig off. That little wig coming right off his clot. Right off his blown up cruiserweight clot. And Wilder's realised now it just ain't the same as it used to be. "Oh man, this ain't the same as it used to be." That's what he's saying. You heard the recording there. Wilder liked it when he was up and coming, but most importantly, you forget, Wilder came up in the era where it was full of bums. He came up in that Klitschko era. Klitschko's get a lot of credit here, but really, when it comes to it, Klitschko's in the 80s or 90s. Not because I'm nostalgic, but factually. We saw what happened. Yeah? Klitschko got washed by the early 2000 dons, and they weren't the real crop. Do you understand? They weren't the real crop. Fair play to Vitali. He was serious. He was decent, but even then, he didn't beat Lennox. And Lennox wasn't even training half sharp. But yeah, Vitali was pretty serious. But Vladimir was everyone. Everyone had to go on Vladimir. Everyone hopped on him. Yeah? Vladimir was a bottom to the last bit of the 90s dons. He turned him into a bottom. Had him all hanging over the floor and whatnot. Everyone would just hop on and have a go. One of them ones. So what I'm saying is, Wilder came up in that era of people just being bums, and he liked it. He was thriving. "Oh man, I'm the most feared. I'm the most feared in the division." He's saying all that. You know what he likes? "FIFA for fun, and I smell the blood in England." All that kind of stuff. Yeah? No doubt, 100%. You heard the recording there. So, you give it all that. Bermain Stavern, all the highlight reels. Oh man, well you know, I'm just got this power, and I was anointed by God, and yeah, one of them ones. Next thing you know, Theory comes on, a dude with no power. Let's get something straight, yeah. Me, LDBC, Goofazoids, everyone agreed Theory has no power. And I'm saying it now, if AJ gets stopped by Theory, it's peak for AJ. Let me say it now, because I'm not going to be one of them flip-flop dons. Yeah, the LDBC, they were saying Fury ain't got no power, their man got washed, and now all of a sudden they're saying, oh man, well you know, Tyson Fury, he the most powerful in the division. That's what they're saying, no joke, 100%. I'm not going to do that. I'm telling you now, there's no way. Fury couldn't put AJ down in a month of Sundays. But if he did, then I'll hold my hands up and say, well, it's peak, but it ain't going to happen anyway. Wilder got washed. Wilder got washed by Theory. And that's the end of that. Got washed by him. Not a lick of power. And why that's important is, what happens when you take a man who's the most feared in the division, who believes he's the most feared, and you get him washed by a Don with no power? That breaks a man. And that's what we saw there in Wilder. But ultimately, it's all one big circle here. Because Wilder only wants to try and avenge himself against Theory. He can't. People don't understand this. They say, why be? Why can't he fight Dillian? Why can't he fight Andy Ruiz? How can he? That's the better question. Not why can't he? How can he? How can he take that risk? He can't. The only person he can bring himself to fight is Fury, because then it's kind of like a winner takes all. Either he beats Fury and he's back on top, or he loses and he's completely finished. And he'll retire anyway. He can only afford to take that Fury fight. For example, Dillian White fight. How can he take a Dillian White fight? If he loses that, the Fury fight ain't never going to happen either. You understand? And Wilder realises now how vulnerable he is. In his mind, he's now come to the conclusion that, wait there a minute, if I got stopped by Fury, who got murked by Dillian White in sparring, big gloves, big head guard on, how can I fight Dillian when Dillian's got the left hook as well? Fury didn't have no left hook. Fury was kind of like just touch you all over with a load of pity-patty shots, a load of slapped you to death. But Dillian got left hook. Wilder will over the reach with the left right hand, and that'll be it. How can Wilder dare to fight Dillian? In fact, it's not even about daring, it's just about a bit of strategy here. He can't take the risk, is what I'm saying. When you're a champion, when you're on top, that's one thing. In fact, he didn't even want to fight Dillian when he was on top, he didn't want to fight Dillian. You think now that he's at a make or break moment, people have a short memory. When AJ lost to Ruiz, what did everyone say? Wow, this is it now. If he gets beat twice, his career's over. Wilder, the LDBC Goofazoids like to forget this part, but Wilder is in exactly the same position, except AJ got beat by a man with good hands, with relatively heavy hands compared to Fury. Ruiz don't slap, not even once. Rapid hands and don't slap. Fury slaps. Fury has never been known as a one-punch artist. Never been known to have devastating hands. Dillian White, on the other hand, no matter what you say about Fury, Dillian White is another level in snap. Another level in devastatingness, in one-punchness. For example, we can do a one-for-one comparison here. That 6 months before Fury put on his performance against Vlad, so 6 months before Tyson Fury's prime, he went in there with Chisora. Took him 10 rounds and never knocked Chisora down once. Comparatively, yeah? And Fury hit him with everything but the kitchen sink. Couldn't put him out. That was his prime. Dillian White goes in there with Chisora. Arguably a better Chisora. Chisora was coming off crazy wins against Takam. Crazy momentum. What happens? Dillian White, one shot. Not 10. Not a million. And Fury was hitting Chisora with loads of shots. Didn't do anything. Dillian White, it only took one. So there's levels to this game. I'm not saying Dillian ain't no AJ, but it's still levels to it. Dillian's above Fury, is the point. So Wilder, how can he? People, I don't get where you man are coming from when you say, oh, Deontay Wilder needs to fight Dillian. Are you mad? He couldn't deal with Fury. Pity patty. How's he going to take one bang off Dillian and then be washed? He can't risk it. He needs the Fury fight. From Wilder's point of view, it's better for him to sit out for 3 years and beg for the Fury fight than it is for him to take another fight and lose. Because then, once he loses to Dillian or Andy Ruiz, that's it then. He's never going to get his get back. He's never going to get... There's no, to be honest, the chances are he ain't going to beat Fury either. But still, what he's waiting for is the chance. Yeah, that's the key thing here. He wants the chance to lose again. Because if he fights Dillian White, he ain't going to even get the chance to fight Fury. Every single opponent, Joe Joyce, Dillian White, Andy Ruiz, they're all steps in front of where he wants to be. He wants to be back in that contention. Every other fight he takes is a risk, and that's what people didn't appreciate about AJ. AJ, Wilder and Fury ducked him. Did he hang back and just wait? Which would have been the smart thing to do. Fight once every other year. Listen, AJ could have done that easily. Fight every blue moon. That's what Wilder's been doing, hanging out. And the crazy thing is, Wilder would only fight once a year and also fight a bum. It's madness. Not only completely inactive, every time he did fight a bum. No, AJ got in there back to back twice a year like a metronome, fighting the top fighters. He gets beat once and everyone laughs at him. Oh, yeah, you got beat by Jabba the Hutt. No. He got beat by a man that would wash the whole division. Ruiz will light up Wilder. Seriously. If you get beat by Fury, who isn't aggressive at all, has no power, has no real speed in his hands. Has no offensive speed in his hands. What do you think Ruiz is going to do to you? If you get overwhelmed by Fury, Mr. Slap, Ruiz will literally butcher you. Seriously. When it comes to hand speed and combinations, Ruiz is up there with AJ. It's up there with AJ in top 2 in the division. So, that is what it is. He can't go, and Wilder knows that. And that's why Wilder's given it an ultimatum. Either I retire, or I get the Fury fight. He ain't fighting no one else. Because even he had the opportunity to fight in January, didn't he? Doesn't want it. Confidence is so shot, he don't even want to fight at Brazil anymore. He ain't sure. Because how can you be sure? You got washed by Fury. Yeah? Don't forget that. Mr. Fury has no power. He has pillow fist. He is like a Brazil. That's the kind of levels we're talking now. Not even a lick of power. So Wilder's... I feel a bit sorry for him, but I'm just bringing you man the news. I'm completely impartial, as you've heard. Wilder, retirement, or Fury. And that is it. So for all you man saying, oh, Dillian, this, that, the other, it ain't happening. Not in a million years. Not happening. No one is he going to fight. Although, actually, I've also heard that if he does fight, it will be a real bum. Like a real bum. I'm trying to think of an example. Ortiz, that'll be one, yeah. He'll probably drag Ortiz's 75-year-old leather bag looking ass. Probably drag him out and throw him in there. And then tell him, okay, Ortiz, stand there with your hands down and start grinning and like, just do that and I'll knock you out again. That's the kind of thing he'll be doing, actually. But it'll be someone like that. An Ortiz, what other bums do we have? Yeah, just pick a bum. It'll be like that kind of caliber. Someone he's beat 14 times already. That's it. And even then, I'm hearing he don't even really want to do that. Hence why he hasn't done anything in God knows how long. It's been about a year and a half now since his fought. And he hasn't got nothing in the pipeline. At least Fury's got AJ in the pipeline. Wilder don't have nothing. He's just begging. Stay begging or retirement. That's what he's looking at now. Because he's realised he can't afford to fight anyone else. He'd rather retire now with Fury as a loss. Because then he can say, oh, well, yeah, Fury beat me, but I begged for the rematch and he ducked me. So I'm basically undefeated because if I had got the rematch, I'd have knocked him out. That's what he's looking for now. A built-in excuse. If he fights Dillian White and gets knocked out, well, that's all over. He hasn't got that excuse in there, that asterisk. He wants to go out with an asterisk, or he wants to go out with an asterisk next to his loss. Lost, but he wanted the rematch, couldn't get it. Or he wants to go out and having fought Fury again. He ain't going out having been whooped by everyone. It's damage limitation now. It's strategic career planning right now from Wilder's point of view. It's a sad thing to say, but it's the truth. He ain't an AJ. AJ's mentally strong, and we knew that. AJ get in there, get whooped, get in there, even though his team don't believe in him, and still get in there and do the business. Different cloth. Wilder ain't the same cloth. That's why he's hanging out for 2 years now, just hanging, begging for things. AJ cut through things. AJ forced the Wilder Fury fight. Hunted him down, forced him into a corner, ready to blow his back out for him. That's what AJ does, not Wilder. Wilder hangs down and just cries. Scary looking dude.